They are not living that life. There are people who are still in the captivity of a terrorist, no doubt. There are people who are still robbing trucks, meat truck. They are still there robbing, grain trucks for food. They are still everywhere. They're like even poorer. But the real reason behind this regrouping is not because of them. The agenda now is for equity, fairness, and justice. The power has to return back to northern Nigeria after 2027. No, by 2027. Because according to them, since this demonstration of madness or demonstration of grace started in Nigeria, the southern Nigeria by 2027 would have been in power for 17 years. And that's unfair. The northern Nigeria has only been in power for just 11 years. Baba, you are from southern Nigeria watching me. Can you tell me how much they moved by 3 years? Okay, not 17. Just use 14 years now with Tifnumbu. So when he is there till 2027, it will be 17 years, I think. Okay. Obasanjo was there for 8 years. Jolantan was there for 5 years. And that's a 13. Then Tifnumbu has been there now for a year. That's 14. So by 2027, it will be 17 years of southern rule. But let's use 14 first. You, when they watch me from southern Nigeria, or if you are from southern Nigeria, raise up your hand and tell me that the 14 years of a southern presidency in Nigeria has made your life better than the lives of those who are from a northern Nigeria. Oh yeah, raise up your hand. And this, your better life is due to the policies of this. How many? Maybe there are some more. I'm just saying. Then if you are from northern Nigeria, raise up your hand. 11 years of a northern presidency. 11 years. This is the recent history. Raise up your hand and tell me how beneficial that has been to an average you in northern Nigeria, that a northerner was president of Nigeria for 11 years in the last 25 years. So why are you deceiving yourselves and believing these rogues and these charlatans that they have your interest at all? It's our turn. We must not let anybody. We will not grieve the do to be do. The robo. Hey. The moment all of you, somebody was like asking me, okay, what's the solution? The solution is not hard. If you have the capacity to organize yourselves, to call yourselves together that you want to go and get PVC. Some of you are campaigning about it as well. Until you mobilize millions of you to be interested. You can mobilize millions of you at the same time, and not at a certain date fixed by the establishment, or at a date fixed by all of you. By December 20th, by December 21st, there will be a national lockdown in Nigeria by the young people with the following demands. Then you start mobilizing towards that, raise funds towards that. And when that time comes, until your own demands are met, you're not going anywhere. Like, you could mobilize millions to go and vote, Abby. And then the vote won't count because somebody somewhere is just going to, compute some figures into the computer, and then it will declare whoever they wanted as winner. And now they are telling you that, in this contraption, right, the people who vote are not the important people. The most important people are the people that count the votes. So right now, I'm trying to advise those of you who might want to believe. If you are from northern Nigeria, you might quite actually stop deceiving yourselves. The only reason why the likes of Atiku and gang are going to believe that you are so moved and impressed by them coming together to do what? To save you from Nigeria. No, they want to save themselves. Have you not noticed? They just need you to validate that, so that if it's not going according to their way, I mean, they need the audience to say, to tell about, well, kind of to be deceived with religion, tribe, ethnic, and all of that. But how beneficial is any of this to you once these guys use these mediums to gain power? So if you're asking me for solution, I could give you a million solution that is practicable. I'm looking forward to a day when I will be influential enough. When I will be influential enough that I will have be able to call out 1,000,000 people and 100,000 would answer me. It is possible. That's exactly the job being done by the rogues in Nigeria. 1 minute you want to believe maybe the Nigeria will work, and at every point in time when you think it would, but they will shatter that dream. That's what they do. So one day you'll be tired, like many of us. But those of you who have that power, you are using them to mobilize for an election, and then that's it. Then you go to where? You go to their courts. That's not going to save anyone. So I just gave you that for those of you who have actually been on the field. Now, here is one of them defending why and how the government funded Hajj. And people died for that Hajj. Honestly, the reporter I got was that like 45 people died from Tunisia. Over 600 died from Egypt. And they sent it to kill them. There were many other wonderful things that took place there, like a delegation from Nigeria that found a purse filled with money. And they returned that back to the head of their camp. And then we saw those who were like not happy with what they were fed with, the food, the kind of food they were given. But Nigeria as a whole, right? Nigeria federal government, which is Tinubu, gave the Nigerian Hajj Commission 90 billion naira. The governors from 36 states in Nigeria, including South, South, Delta, they all gave over 400 billion. Plus the fact about $500 billion naira was spent by Nigerians alone going to the Hajj. And I heard that about 3 people also died from the heat as well from Nigeria. Yeah, it was really bad. The heat was really, really, really bad this year. But here is the Niger governor, the headquarters of the Fulani terrorists in Nigeria. The man that said, my state is the state with the largest number of Fulani terrorists. He called them bandits, and he advised Nigerian government not to use any force, military or what have you, that he would talk to them. So it's an Avon. And half of the state itself is being controlled by these terrorists. The guy was in Hajj himself and his deputy. He just came back and he's here to lecture us on why and how, the government had to come in and say, yeah, and other things, if you don't mind.
Yes. Good morning, Your Excellency. We're delighted to have been given this privilege to meet with you here in Saudi. We understand you're in Saudi for the 2024 Hajj pilgrimage. What is your general assessment of the Hajj this year?
We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the opportunity to have been part of this 2024 Hajj pilgrimage. And we want to also thank the President of our country for also giving us opportunity and other Nigerians to be able to perform this ritual and obligation. My assessment of the operation in general, for the Saudis, they've done their best. But for us as a country, we have failed. We have failed and continue to fail and fail and fail. NACON is supposed to be a regulator, not an operator. But NACON has decided to continue to play the part of operation, and therefore they failed pilgrims. Can you imagine that the feeding of pilgrims in Medina, the accommodation in Medina, the tents in Muna and Arafah, the transportation, both land and air freight, all is handled by NACON. Even the medical workers, they are selected from the states and the funds are released from the states to NACON. So all these things hinder operations. There is no country that does that in the whole world. And very few countries have bodies like NACON. So our general overview is for NACON to continue to be a regulator, not an operator.
Thank you, Your Excellency. A lot of deaths have been recorded due to heat wave in the Arabia Peninsula, especially in Saudi. How many pilgrims from your state have you lost? And if you could tell us how many have you lost in Nigeria generally? Okay,
in my state, we lost two in Medina due to their state of health. And this is one of the reasons I'm talking about NACON. Because if medical part of the pilgrimage is handled by states, you will do your screening. You see people who are diabetic, people who have underlying illnesses, and you'll be able to understand how you can transport them. But nobody does that because NACON is in charge. So we lost two due to medical issues, and we lost another 4 due to heat wave. So in my state. And in Nigeria, I'm sure it can be less than 100 in general. So this is not a good number, and this should stop. Let state governments be able to do the right thing, screen their pilgrims, check their statuses, health-wise, and even for those that are going to be coming for medical, let us even understand that they're coming for medical. Let us understand the kind of medication they are taking. But nobody does that because NACON is handling it.
Excellency, just before the Hajj operation, we understand that the FGN gave a subsidy of 90 billion naira. What is your assessment of NACON in relation to the subsidy that FGN provided?
Let me tell you, it's unfortunate, and there is need for the National Assembly to probe these funds. As a state governor, I want to lead the Committee of Governors of the NGF to scrap NACON. NACON is not helping matters. Federal government is too big to be worried about Hajj operations. These are supposed to be local government issues, not even state issues. So state government should be able to organize pilgrimage and get agents from the private sector who will do this thing the best way, like other countries are doing. The government has no business in doing this business. Again, can you imagine governors of Nigeria, the Speaker of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, paying money to NACON and coming to Mina, no place for him to sleep and embarrassed, or no place for governors to sleep and embarrassed? People would say because governors have been touched. Yes, governors have been touched. But it is good that governors have been touched. It is good that the Speaker of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has been affected. It is time for us now in the learning curve to change the narratives. Let state governments handle Hajj operations. The 90 billion you are talking about, the federal government gave, imagine sharing it with our states and see what the state. There is no state. My state, for example, and other states in the north have given between 3 to 5 billion naira subsidy, additional to what government has brought in. That 90 billion is enough to run UBEC budget for 4 years. So we cannot be handing our resources to people. And people paid 8 million naira for these operations directly before even the subsidy, and they got only $400. This is ridiculous. What is $400? Somebody pays 8 million naira to you, NACON, and you come and give them stipends of $400 to run themselves for 1 month. There is no even reason why a Hajj operation should last beyond 2 weeks. You bring pilgrims for 40 days, you leave them here, some 45 days. It's ridiculous because of racketeering in airlifting, in handling of cargo and other things. Let the private sector drive Hajj operations. Government should be a regulator. NACON should be a regulator at the center. If NACON must exist, then they should strictly be a regulator. But as I've told you, I'm leading committees of governors to the NGF. From there, we'll go to the NEC. I will propose this motion. We'll send a bill to the National Assembly where this issue of NACON should be reviewed.
Thank you once again, Your Excellency. From everything you have said, clearly there is a huge gap between the relationship between the states and FGN, especially NACON, in relation to Hajj operations and regulation. What do you think is the way forward, Your Excellency?
The only way forward is for people that let there be separation of powers and responsibility. NACON, by the laws that have brought them to existence, are supposed to be regulators to make sure that things are done rightly. But NACON has no business in chartering of flights. It is not their business to feed the pilgrims because the food they are giving people, for example, I'm from Niger State. If you allow me to feed my pilgrims, I'll be able to transship food that people are locally used to, to Saudi Arabia, to feed my own pilgrims. I'll be able to get a kitchen that will feed my pilgrims from what they are used to, not to come and give them slice of bread or boiled egg, one piece of egg, and people are starving. We have different cultures. You cannot force the Arabian cuisine on our people. And that's why they are falling sick. Some people want to drink kunu. Some people want to eat masa, and so on and so forth. But NACON wouldn't do that because they contracted to the Arabians. And I don't know the reason. So these things are
nuisance, Lele.
I know it can be annoying, isn't it, right? I just wanted you to see the ridiculousness of the characters. And this is religion. To them in Nigeria, you have to be very careful. You need to be very careful. Even religion, people handling religious matter, they steal money. And yet you still don't see that the whole thing is a pure charade. When they use religion to wink, he said something. He said it should be a private business. It shouldn't be government should just be regulators. That's not true, because the main sort of a project that really matters, according to these criminals, the project that matters to the people is when you build mosques. You have a name for it. Is that called Mashallah? No, that one is Whiskey. Whiskey is Mashallah. No, they have a name for it. I forgot the name. What do they call the mosque? It's not called the mosque. That is so important to them, according to these rogues. People will put together millions of naira and hand them over to some guys that they will turn around and may turn back later to complain of being robbed in the name of Allah. They are being robbed in the name of Allah. And then those who are milking that, according to him, like, the governor and the speaker, they were so embarrassed when they got to Mecca. What are they doing in Mecca? What are they doing in Saudi Arabia? Oh, they are Muslims. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Are you saying that they should not follow their this or that? How many countries do you know in the world that pay people to go to Mecca? Not pay them, like sponsor them to go to Mecca, to go and pray in Saudi Arabia. How many do you know? But you see, this Alimajiri mentality, Rankadede mentality, is from northern Nigeria. It has become the unwritten law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If the government no pay, they don't pay for Hajj this year. The northern Nigeria are very angry. You did not pay for Hajj this year. Education is least, because that one too is probably an around. But yeah, that's a state governor, doing a small video to show to us that indeed he witnessed the maltreatment of northern pilgrims to Mecca. So they coughed out 8 million naira. Imagine people and there are poor people, right, who don't have that money, but they put them on anyway. They paid over 10 million naira for them to go to Mecca. Some of them have health issues. But they have been told once they go to Mecca and pray around the Medina and Mecca, Allah will take them to Al-Jannah. So it's okay. This whole thing, then they give the money to Saudi Arabia. They give the money to Saudi Arabia, who would then, you see one thing about going to Mecca, the one that these criminals have now monetized in Nigeria, and it is a political tool as well in Nigeria. Okay, is a pillar of Islam that says, after as a Muslim, okay, so you pray 5 times a day, you give alms, which is a zakat. I think zakat is zakat salat, and then umrah, that's Hajj. Then that's 5 pillar of Islam. Oh my God, why did I forget all of that? Anyway, one of them, right, which is the least of them, is going to Mecca. Yeah. Islam does not give compulsion that you must go to Mecca. In fact, you are advised that going to Mecca is if you can afford the journey. Back in the days, you would have to possibly just trek from wherever you are in the world. And you would trek for months, sometimes years, to go to Mecca. There were people who left, and for 15 years, their people didn't see them again until they showed up again. And then they came back with beard and all of that. They look so different with different language and all of that stuff. But they came back as, yeah, this person just came back from Hajj. I swear, that's most of the history. Then over time, it became more easier, and transportation became more easier and shorter and shorter. That's the history. So a lot of people don't want to go. If you are a sick person, don't go to Mecca if you have health condition, because it is energy consuming, the exercise and all of that. It is not compulsory. But you know what the politicians and criminal politicians in Nigeria, especially northern Nigeria, are doing? They use that as a gift. They will promise the impoverished people in their different communities. And this is the idea that they imported to southern Nigeria. Now, all over Nigeria now, especially western Nigeria, Yoruba land, you will see politicians will be promising their party members, poor party members. If I become honorable, I will send 5 people to Mecca. You say, Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Or they say, Takbir. That is somebody who is pledging there. And guess who they will give the slot to? When you go to mosque, they will say, Honorable Tajudeen, what mu Mecca wow? Mecca meta lo mu wa lodun yi. Honorable Tajudeen has brought us Mecca trip. So, Chief Imam, we are now asking to see, what do you think we should give it to? Say, Mama Ya Saida, she has been very, 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 active. She has been, the only thing in her life is praying to Allah that she should go to Mecca. She wants to go to Mecca. Imam, I'm thinking we should just gift her the Mecca. So they will call it Ya Basira, Ya Shehu. Ya Shehu. Àdúrà yín ti gbà. Ṣé rí ní inú Suratu Takiya. Ya Basira, Ya Shehu. Ya Shehu. Obìnrin kan bẹ níbẹ̀ ní Jọ́dánì lọ́jọ́ náà lọ́wọ́, ó kígbe róró, she cried to Allah. Allah should show her light, and Allah show her. See, Allah has answered your prayer. You are going to Mecca this year. And she will become so happy. And that's how the woman that has never seen 1 million naira in her life, she will become so grateful that she is going on a journey of 10, 15 million naira. And all glory to Allah. Yeah, I'm not saying this is so wrong. Okay, it is very wrong. And it has become a norm, politicized in Nigeria. So some of them, like governor, governor can say, I'm going to sponsor 2,000 people. So they will begin to share the slot of Mecca. Inside the homes where people could barely eat, where their children have no real education or anything, okay? They will begin to give them Mecca, slot Mecca. That guy who is giving the slot, they owe him their political allegiance. That is wrong. That is un-Islamic. That is complete haram. But they've normalized it in Nigeria. They've institutionalized it. And